Hi guys.
Good Lord, didn't anybody here subscribe?
Hi guys, thanks for joining me in this video. This is part 2 of the video we started on corruption on Paterson, and now we're going to get on to the £600,000. We just heard from the politicians there of how they reacted to Johnson's deplorable attempts to usurp the course of justice. But what we will look at now, as indicated in the previous video, is the caliber of people that the Conservatives have had to resort to face the music, basically, to let you know. I show the proof on screen and in the description also. But before that, let's not forget for a second here that we have been told that it was Andrea Leadsome's bill, okay, that started this. In effect, it was her idea. And what have we heard from Andrea Leadsome? We have heard nothing, zero, absolutely nada from the former leader of the House. Instead, we've been subjected to the most incredible denial by someone who had, by his own admission, received 600,000, and actually it was in excess of £600,000 consultancy payment for a company in Iraq that, by the way, at the same time as receiving that payment, had lost 97.5% of its share value while he was Parliamentary Under Secretary of State for Children and Families under Theresa May's government. The one and the only Mr. Nadhim Zahawi.
So look, as far as Owen Paterson's concerned, he's now resigned. The Standards Committee...
Well, that doesn't matter, though, because it's still the issue.
I'm going to get to that. I actually haven't read the report, so it would be unfair of me to go through.
So you voted on this without having read the report?
No. Hold on a second. Just bear with me a second, right? I've looked at the report. I haven't gone into the details. Owen says that much of it is contested, right? I think something like 14 people have sent statements that it's contested. That is a specific case. The Standards Committee have judged on that, and Jacob Rees-Mogg came back to the House and said, we will have a vote on that this coming week. Of course, events have overtaken that because Owen is now resigned on them.
Now, I think it's right that people be reminded of his experience, in fairness, okay? Of him working with another convicted perjurer, another disgraced Conservative politician, Jeffrey Archer, during Archer's controversial Simple Truth campaign to help Kurdish victims of the Gulf War, which merely darkens the water of the £600,000+, okay? Now, just to remind you, Archer was imprisoned from 2001 to 2003 for perjury and perverting the course of justice, okay? Now, there may be some of you who think that this is all some weird and wonderful conspiracy theory, and hell, you may even be right. But as I have direct experience of coming from a country that has been ripped apart by conflict, from a country that has seen thousands of tragic lives lost, many more thousands whose lives have been turned upside down as a result of horrific injuries, I can tell you with absolute confidence that a patriot, not under even the slightest possibility, is going to take £600,000, okay? And no politician in the north of Ireland would have taken £600,000 from any company in the north of Ireland just to do a few hours work to help out their fellow countrymen. It makes absolutely no sense at all. In short, this plonker did not act out of patriotism. So first, let's listen to what the UK ambassador to Iraq said to Kurdistan TV just in September, and remind ourselves that this same guy is going to have to do the same when he briefs his counterpart in the US Embassy in Baghdad and the Iraqi Foreign Office. Now, I strongly recommend, by the way, that you look at the YouTube link to this video and see how much that ambassador was being hung out like a puppet on a string.
They have a very close, friendly relationship, building on the relationship over a number of years, including President Barzani's last visit here to the UK and the Prime Minister's visit to Erbil back in 2015, where they also had the opportunity to engage. So it was a chance for them to reconnect and continue that dialogue together.
Now, when Bojo was rolling out and depending on support from the likes of Nadim Zahawi, who took the money just a few years ago for God knows what type of consultancy, now, quite frankly, I just can't get over the hypocrisy of this guy. You see, in just September, he knows that Boris Johnson welcomed the Kurdistan region president, Barzani, I think is his name, to Downing Street. He knows that. And he knows that Johnson publicly was saying that the friendship between their nations is of an enormous importance, blah, 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 all the normal crap. What makes this head-scratchingly and blindingly impossible to understand is that Johnson knows that the US is dead set not to be seen to be taking sides between the Kurds and the Iraqis. And there is zero ambiguity on what the US position was and is on this issue. The US had pleaded with the Kurds not to hold an independence referendum, but the Kurds, they did it anyway. I'm not saying they were wrong, but the Americans certainly didn't want them to do it, but the Kurds said, to hell with you, we're going to do it anyway, and they held it. Anyway, immediately thereafter, another dispute erupted over the other oil-rich area in Kurdistan, and as predicted, has played right into the hands of the hardliners and into the hands of the Iranians, at least according to Stuart Jones, who was the former ambassador to Iraq. He's now at the Cohen Group. Now, if you look into it, you'll see it for yourselves. Fairly close to what was predicted, okay? That's what's basically happened. Now, we know from just a few weeks ago in Afghanistan that the British military is in no position to even think about wielding our military might without the help of the US. But as relations between the two are about as warm as basically a polar bear's nuts and as useful as a chocolate teacup, it seems to me that the only motivating factor in this whole charade is money. Now, whether it is for military supplies, military training, or simply the opportunity for Johnson and his buddies to rent out the army as a group of mercenaries, I really don't know. But I do know that yet again, Johnson is flirting with biblical danger that he cannot or will not be able to talk himself out of. Guys, thanks for watching the video. Give it the subscribe, give it the like, really appreciate it. You guys take care. Bye-bye.